Family, especially William and Kate, didn't develop reservations about Meghan because of the way she bullied palace staff. She was simply the victim of royal racism. All of this is nonsense.
A conversation with you?
With Harry.
You know that dizzy rush you get when a rom-com ends with a perfect kiss under the credits? Now, picture smashing that glass slipper in slow motion. That's what the world is watching happen to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, a love story that once felt bigger than Buckingham Palace, now unraveling in real time. For years, they sold us the dream. The American actress who rescued the lonely prince, the prince who renounced titles, tabloids, and royal trappings for true love. But behind the California sunshine and podcast deals, something fractured. Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on the moment Meghan reportedly whispered the 4 words that shattered the myth: "I don't love Harry."
Is not visibly black, but that's who she is. The way that they speak about her and the way they treat her is incredibly relatable to everybody else of colour.
Meghan has always been a mad, keen player of the victim card. The nasty Brits who took against her because of the colour of her skin.
How did we get here? What does it mean for the monarchy, for Harry's heart, and for the next generation of royals? Stay with me, because every twist hits harder than the last, and what comes after the final twist may redefine the crown forever. The first tremor wasn't a paparazzi photo or a leaked email, it was Meghan herself, calm, composed, painfully clear, telling trusted friends she no longer loves the man who sacrificed a kingdom for her. Sources swear there was no theatrical shouting, no broken glass, just a quiet confession heavy enough to bend steel. Within hours, whispers ricocheted through LA dinner parties and London newsrooms. Is the Fairytale over? The answer, insiders say, is complicated.
Can't imagine having to feel like it's appropriate to have those sorts of close and should be otherwise private family conversations.
Picture he tries to paint with Queen Elizabeth, even saying during that BBC interview that the Queen wanted him to have this level of security.
For Meghan, the statement wasn't spite, it was exhaustion. She felt unheard, hemmed in by royal baggage, and suffocated by 100 lenses dissecting every glance. For Harry, it landed like shrapnel, proof that absolute devotion can still lose the battle against emotional burnout. And if you think that's brutal, buckle up. This revelation was just the fuse. But wait until you see where the sparks flew next. Long before the confession, fans saw the smiles stiffen. Body language experts flagged Harry standing inches behind Meghan instead of shoulder to shoulder. Royal watchers noted her conspicuous absences. Skipped christenings, missed Windsor garden parties, each one explained away as scheduling conflicts, yet camera flashes don't lie.
Hasn't he? I actually feel, for the first time, a bit sorry for him. He's so lost.
He's deep down in that burrow, isn't he? It's sort of hard to retrieve yourself out of that.
Well, that interview sparked widespread backlash, with a new poll revealing a majority of Brits want to see Harry stripped of his HRH title. For more, we're joined by royal expert.
Harry's gaze drifted, his trademark grin dimmed. Couple shots looked staged, as though a director shouted closer between takes. Casual observers chalked it up to stress. Close friends now admit those were red flags. Meghan had been drifting emotionally for months, the weight of expectation grinding her down. Ironically, Harry ignored the signs because he believed love, their love, could outmuscle anything. It's the same romantic overconfidence that made him walk away from royal privilege. But cracks kept spreading under the paint, and every step the couple took toward independence seems in hindsight like another hairline fracture on the facade.
Just wait until Prince William is king. I think he's going to put his handsome foot down, and he is going to rock Meghan Markle's world. Meghan Markle is going to be humbled very quickly.
According to a report in OK magazine, Prince William plans on stripping both Harry and Meghan of their HRH titles.
And the next fracture? It has a familiar royal name attached, but wait until you see where the sparks flew next. When Meghan allegedly admitted she'd always admired Prince William, and not strictly in a brother-in-law capacity, the story detonated. Forget the long-rumored rift between the brothers over Netflix deals and tell-all memoirs. This was emotional TNT lobbed straight into Kensington Palace. William, the careful heir who polishes every public smile, woke up to headlines implying his sister-in-law held a secret torch. Courtiers scrambled, photographers camped outside Adelaide Cottage, and family group chats lit up like Christmas.
Meghan's detractors have been calling for them to be stripped of their HRH since they left the royal family over 5 years ago. But those calls seem to be growing louder and from a more widespread community. And I think that's partly because of this interview over the weekend, which has actually backfired spectacularly.
William is said to be horrified, not because he reciprocated, but because the mere rumor paints him in shades that could stain his legacy. He's working overtime to modernize the monarchy. The last thing he needs is tabloid fodder hinting at an emotional triangle worthy of soap opera syndication. Yet, while William fights image wildfires, Harry is battling something far hotter inside. Imagine trading crown jewels for California sunsets, believing love will pay dividends richer than any royal purse. Now imagine watching that investment evaporate overnight. Friends say Harry's moving through Kubler-Ross stages on fast forward. Shock, anger, bargaining, yet stuck on heartbreak.
The quote, Prince William plans to flex his muscles and wipe his wayward brother Prince Harry and his power-hungry wife Meghan from the history books, it says.
There are growing calls to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles. The New York Post is reporting that locals in the UK say enough is enough.
He wanders Montecito lanes looking half-present, texting Meghan paragraphs that get back curt replies or unread bubbles. PAL security detail notes, longer solo hikes, later nights, phone calls to old army mates. For a man raised behind palace gates, vulnerability has always lurked beneath a veneer of cheeky charm. Now it's etched on his face. He keeps replaying the reel. The Sandhurst uniform surrendered, the HRH forfeited, the Windsor Chapel memories, asking whether any of it counted for Meghan, and each time the answer echoes darker. Meanwhile, Meghan isn't crying into satin pillows. She's plotting her next power move. Insiders confirm Meghan's calendar glows with brand meetings, production pitches, and philanthropic summits where she alone owns the spotlight. Gone are joint ventures. In their place, a refined personal narrative of resilience and reinvention. Those in her circle insist she felt smothered, not just by a prince, but by an institution she never fully trusted. Hollywood's siren call has returned, offering control, cash, and creative freedom. While Harry grieves, Meghan curates, dropping carefully choreographed Instagram shots, lining up partnerships, securing trademarks. Critics call it opportunism. Her camp calls it survival. Either way, the distance grows not just emotionally, but professionally. And once career paths diverge, romantic paths rarely converge. But two innocent passengers ride in the back seat of this breakup car, and their fate is the next big question. Archie scribbles crayon crowns. Lilibet practices toddling, unaware the adults are privately debating zip codes. Should a split formalize? Where is home? LA studios or Windsor cottages? California courts aren't keen on transatlantic shuffles, yet Harry's heart beats Windsor blue. Legal experts predict months of negotiations, mediation, and PR tightropes. The only certainty is that the kid's future will headline global columns. Both parents swear they'll keep Archie and Lily insulated from chaos, but every royal historian knows custody conflicts can reshape dynasties. If Meghan leans Hollywood and Harry leans heritage, geography becomes a battlefield no child deserves. And as family life hangs in limbo, the crown itself braces for collateral damage. Though the Sussexes stepped back in 2020, their actions still splash mud on palace marble. Every new twist is a risk assessment. Will global sympathies tilt against William? Will Harry's heartbreak reignite anti-monarchist flames? Aides are gaming scenarios, joint statements, silent treatment, strategic leaks. The Queen's legacy of never complain, never explain has faded. In the TikTok era, silence fuels conspiracy. Palace officials fear damaging parallels to Charles and Diana's meltdown, only this time magnified by social media's 24-second attention span. One wrong headline could undo years of PR modernization. And behind cedar doors, senior courtiers are crossing fingers the drama ends quietly. Spoiler: quiet endings seldom trend. But beyond palaces and press offices, the most painful act of this tragedy remains almost invisible. Forget fiery breakups. This is the heartbreak that kills by degrees. Hushed phone calls, cold shoulders over breakfast, text replies that never come. Harry still speaks of rebuilding. Meghan responds with polite distance that says we're past rescue. Friends describe the atmosphere as winter without snow. No storms, just frost. And that, psychologists say, hurts more, because it turns the lover into a ghost who still sleeps across the hallway. Harry clings to hope, believing love can outrun disillusionment. But hope alone can't fix intimacy that has flatlined. So he drifts through charity events, sipping water instead of champagne, smiling for flashbulbs that won't let him mourn in peace. This is the invisible hemorrhage of heartbreak, silent but fatal if ignored. Which brings us to the only logical question: what happens now? Prince Harry hasn't issued a press release, and Meghan isn't filming a tell-all yet, but the story is already rewriting itself. Whether reconciliation sparks or the split solidifies, Repercussions will echo from Montecito mansions to Balmoral halls. For the monarchy, it's a stress test of 21st century relevancy. For Meghan, it's a chance to prove she can shine without royal wattage. For Harry, it's a reckoning with the reality that love, no matter how mythic, sometimes can't survive the gravitational pull of two radically different life paths. And for the rest of us, it's a front row seat to the implosion of a modern-day fairy tale. A reminder that palaces and red carpets can't armor the heart against disillusion. When the dust settles, perhaps we'll see two people, stripped of titles and expectations, deciding if there's a future together or only apart. Until then, every whispered update, every paparazzi snap, and every palace statement will keep this saga on a knife edge. Stay tuned, because in this royal drama, the credits haven't rolled, and the final plot twist may be only one heartbreak away. Which brings us to the only logical question: what happens now?